Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and I am doing the part 2 of my ink swap swatching with Zen of the Pen. If you haven't seen the first one, go ahead and check that out, but let's get into this. I have 5 samples today that I'm going to swatch, and they are packaged wonderfully in these vials where you can't necessarily see it. Let me see if I can grab that one right there. So this says CV for Colorverse, and then there's IMF for Intense Magnetic Field. So I am going to get started with swatching that on the Galen Leather Co. Everyday Notebook with Tomoe River paper and the Wearingeul swatch book that I received as part of an ink flight. I am using a Kakimori brass nib pen with the Kakimori nib holder, a white t-shirt for drying off after I rinse it, and I have a mason jar with water as well as my Pirate Inkapet that you take the hat off, and that's where you put the ink vial. So first one's first. Let me just, oh, that one has a shimmer. Let me arrange them so that I do my shimmer at the end. Okay, I've got 2 shimmers and 2 non-shimmers. So we are going to start with Colorverse Intense Magnetic Field. Now this one looks like it might be a purple, but I could be very wrong on that. Oh, nope, it's kind of like a burgundy. All right. Wow, I like this one. I don't think I have anything like this. Yep. I'm very enamored with this color. You can tell by my lack of talking while swatching it. I'm just enjoying how it's going on the paper, how it's drying. It's really lovely. Now, when I swatch it here, this does remind me of An ink, but I can't at this moment in time pull forward what ink that is. Now, if you look at this page, you can see a little sampling of some of the inks that I swatched in that last video. And I'm putting ZOTP for Zen of the Pen, just so I know where this came from. I haven't always done that, and I wish I had, but I did it now. So, all right, next one will be Colorverse Bow Shock or Bow Shock. I'm thinking it's Bow Shock. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to say Bow Shock. And this looks like it's a blue. Oh, yes. That's a nice blue. It's dark, but it also has a punchy brightness to it. Ooh, look at my spacing. I'll do this. So I didn't talk about this in the last video, but I have, I guess, alluded to this in the past or talked a little bit about it, but Zen of the Pen and myself have a mutual friend, and we connected for the first time about our love for fountain pens on Super Bowl Sunday. And so we went to a gathering together, or went to the same gathering last night, which was a Friday night, and the Celtics were playing a NBA final game. And so we both brought samples and we both brought pens, and we spent parts or most of one of the quarters enjoying fountain pens. And I felt like we were a bit of a spectacle at times, where people were intrigued at what we were doing. So I enjoyed it very much. So that was probably the highlight of my night. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind basketball, but I more prefer fountain pens. All right, and I am making a mess with this blue. Wow. Look at that. And my thumb. All right, that's fun. Okay, the next one is Redshift. Wow, look at all that sheening coming through. It almost reminds me of a slightly darker version of Diamond Polar Glow. Ooh. Now this is almost a pinky red. I'm getting a little off in my spacing. Redshift. Interesting. This color is very fascinating. It's almost like I want to say magenta, but it's not as poppy as a magenta. It's a little muted compared to the red ink that I swatched in the part 1 of these ink samples. So again, go see that one because that one had a very, in my opinion, classic red versus this is a little on the pinky side and not as bright. Wow, I am a hot mess. All right, so now we get into the shimmers. So I'm going to shift back over to, I think, a blue. Just agitating this. And this one is Colorverse Cat. Ooh. Okay. That is a very bright blue with a light blue shimmer. Wow, I like that. So I want to say it's the base blue is a very classic blue, but it also is very bright. It's almost you're taking bow shock or bow shock down a shade or two, and then you're switching the sheen for a shimmer. I really like it. Oh, it also is a little bit similar to the Ferris Wheel Press exclusive ink that came with the Nebulous Plume pen, except that one has a pink shimmer and this has a light blue shimmer. Those would be interesting to compare. All right, and the last one for this video is Hayabusa 54. I think that's how it's pronounced, Hayabusa 54. I will write it, and if I pronounce it wrong, just look at how I write it. Ooh, another purple. This one also has a shimmer. Oh, wow. That's a bright. It's a little, and I haven't looked at this ink in a really long time, so if I'm misremembering, excuse me, but it's kind of like Iroshizuku Murasaki Shikibu, except this one has a shimmer. And if you can't read my cursive, I will write it in block lettering. Great. Next door. All right. Look at, wow. Wow. So I said a pink shimmer. This almost looks rose gold. You do a little movement here. Look at that. Yeah, that's coming across rose gold. And then the cat is definitely a blue shimmer. And you've got the red sheening in bow shock. And intense magnetic field almost has a bit of copper or green sheening. Ooh, all right. Okay, so that is the part 2 of my inks that I swapped with Zen of the Pen. If you have not checked out his channel, please do. He tends to have a lot of vintage pens and I'm going to say very unique pens. What I love about his channel is he's not necessarily reviewing the most recent colorways or models by some of the top well-known brands. I don't even think I've ever seen a TWSBI in his collection, but he's got things like the Schaefer snorkel. He has a vintage pen that he was able to narrow it down to around 1941 based on the band around the cap, and or 1940, 1941, because the band and the cap changed designs in 1941. And so he very much researches his pens. He knows a lot about them. It has connections to sample out pens for a few weeks at a time, and so he'll use them, he'll talk about them, and then send them back to their owner. But it's really, he's got some pretty unique stuff. So definitely check him out. Plus, he's just an amazing human. And yeah, I will sign off here. I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.